Let's talk about things that might be really helpful in praying, in changing, turning this thing around in terms of our prayer life. I want to talk about our human relationships and just some common sense things that are really kind of self-evident, but sometimes when we think about talking to God, we have a disconnect. We kind of put that in another category. When you really care about somebody, you love talking to them. You love communicating with them. You love being with them. Now, we as human beings are all over the board when it comes to God. Some of us are really a lot like criminals running from policemen. In other words, if you know you're a lawbreaker, every time you see a policeman, you cringe. You have an avoidance mechanism kicks in. You want to hide. You want to duck. You want to turn the other way. But you're certainly not going to seek out a policeman, at least not normally. Our normal gut level reaction is avoidance at all costs. A lot of people, that's frankly where they're at with God. They don't want to be anywhere where God is. They don't want to stumble across God, and they will go out of their way to avoid God. This is the same thing Adam had and Eve when they took for the bushes when they fell. And it's, if you've not recognized, if you've not seen Jesus and Him crucified, and you've not known the love He has for you and the forgiveness that's in you, and if you've not been reconciled to God, then that's probably where you're at. And so I'm not going to spend any more time talking about that situation, but there are ways and means to get help for that, because God does not intend for you to think of Him as somebody who's out to get you. That's not what He wants. But then again, there's those of us who have been Christians a long time, and if we were really honest with our hearts, we would probably say, if we could really paint a picture, we might paint a picture of God as an ogre. Maybe He's not really out to get us, but He's not really that likable. Matter of fact, we may have bitterness and resentments against Him that we've not really brought to the light. We've not maybe even confessed to anybody. But on either account, we would just rather not have much to do with Him. Maybe we go to church and do religious things for the sake of other people, so they aren't hurt by us, so that they're not worried about us, maybe to get them off our back. But really, if we're living our lives to ourselves, we might just never, ever go to church or ever have anything to do with God or ever read the Bible or ever even pray. We might just choose to walk away and completely forget Him. And that's where some of us are at. And it's right to be honest about it. It's good to be honest about it. We don't really gain anything by our dishonesty. But you can understand then why prayer would be difficult. I mean, who wants to talk to somebody they don't like? But now, there's other people. When we fall in love, we can't get enough of talking to that gal or guy. We just eat it up. We want more of their presence, more of their company. We want to talk more to them. And the more we seem to drink of them, as it were, of their presence, and talk from our hearts to them, really the more we fall in love. It lights a fire in our souls, in our hearts. And that's what love's all about, really. Real love is experiencing life together seeing life through each other's eyes, become invisible, where I divulge of myself to you and you divulge of yourself to me, and we accept each other. Is it possible? Is it possible? Is it possible that God might actually want such a relationship with us? I know that's kind of a stretch for many. And you might say, well, let me just put it this way. I believe that I could convince you if I took you to enough scriptures, maybe scriptures you've glossed over, that He's really that kind of God. But I believe He is that kind of God. And I just want you to hold that possibility in your heart right now, in your mind. I want you to mull it over. What if it's true that He really does love and wants to hang out with us? I mean, just a case in point. Why do you think God came every evening to the garden after He had made man and woman? What was He there to do? Was He there to inspect their quality of work? Was He there to give them a chore list for the next day? Was He there? Why did He come every evening? Well, I'll tell you what I think. It was to hang out. It was because He created them in love, and He wanted to be with them in love. Well, I could give you many other examples, but suffice, let that one suffice. Just meditate on it. Think about it. Conceive of the possibility. Let it grow in your heart. Let's pause for a moment.